Hello, my fellow readers, as I, Dark Symphony 777, with a special video. So, yesterday my mom yelled at me. I know, shocker, big surprise. Basically, I told you a couple videos ago, I just started work. And she accused me of deliberately trying to get myself fired. Trying, just to spite her and stuff like that. The reason why is because my manager, actually went behind my back, didn't tell me to my face. I'm leaving out names because I don't want her attacked because I'm going to talk to her today. When I do go to work, that I mentioned that my leg was hurting and I should have less hours, which is true. I did in fact say that. I'm not going to lie. I did say that, but there is a reason, which is the whole point of this video. Now, the reason I said that is not so much the fact that I did mention my leg was complaining, but it's due to circumstances outside of my control. Chrome Regis, one of my subscribers, actually mentioned that I should talk a little bit about my life, when I grew up, and I was like, maybe I'll talk more about my imagination instead. But I thought I should talk about this little history lesson behind me, mainly because I think it's really one of the things I always wanted to talk about, even before I started this. When I first started this channel, I wanted to talk about this. And so what happened was, I'll just give you what happened after first, and then I'll kind of back up. My legs are actually permanently damaged, mostly around the knees. I actually have, when I walk, if you ever actually meet me in person, if you pay real close attention, I have a really peculiar way of walking. My body slightly leaning to the right. I kind of waddle, sort of thing, and that's more a consequence of what happened when I was a kid. And let's talk. Let me tell you how everything leading up to it, and I'll finish with that. So at the time I was 8 years old. It was around early 2001. At the time, my mom was dating my stepfather. And one day I went to school. I went to Kentwood Private School when I was a kid. And they offered, we're going to go to a park and we're going to have a little fun and we're going to have a little contest. And so we went there. We went to, if you live in South Florida, then you know of a place called Buttonwood Park. Buttonwood Park is like a really smallish park that has like a big field for like sports and stuff like that, but also has a tiny little park. We went there, and they said, well, get used to the area. We're going to do a little contest about an hour and a half. And so, we goofed off. We did a lot of kid stuff. And, I had a lot of fun. We played on the park. We played tag. We played four corners. We played dodgeball. Somehow we had there was like a little gazebo area, and we played dodgeball with that. And we had a lot of fun. And then about 90 minutes after we got there, the teachers, they all brought everyone in. So we're about to have the contest. And she explained it just like, we're gonna have what's called a long jump competition. So what she did is she told everyone the rules. The rules were they have this about 4 foot long ruler. They're gonna lay it on the ground, and everyone's going to take turns trying to cross it, like jumping, and when everyone else is time to turn, and then it slowly get farther and farther away from where they said, this is where you have to jump, and the ruler will slowly get farther and farther and farther away, until there's one person standing. So that was kind of thick. And they said that whoever wins gets a pizza party for their class. And so a lot of the students, about 25, 30 students, me included, decided I want to do that. And this is not me as I am now. This is me when I was a kid. I was 8 years old. I didn't know any better. I didn't know the consequences of literally running over and constantly having to jump onto concrete. as part of a way to get. I didn't know the damages at the time, but I only really learned it after the fact. So the little contest started. You know, everyone, it was like right on the line, because if you go to Buttonwood, where the parks where everyone sits and eats, there's like a little line that connecting that with the mesh of the park. That's where you have to jump. You can't go any farther than that, otherwise you're eliminated. And so we slowly start doing the contest where, you know, it's right on the line, so everyone just slowly starts walking. And so we're just chilling, and then it slowly start to get farther. Nothing really starts happening until around 1.5 feet, when like the really, really big kids, because I think there were like 3-4 really heavy set guys who wanted, you know, just did it for fun. They weren't excited. I don't think they wanted this. I don't know if they were gonna make it that they were planning on winning or just having fun, but they got eliminated. And then the ruler started getting slowly farther and farther away, and then it was the less athletic kids who got eliminated first, and then, you know, and some of the girls, because, you know, they want, you know, it's just the winner is whoever represents that class. So you can have multiple kids of a class, you just have to win for that class. So it's like, and so it slowly started getting farther and farther. It went from like 0 to 1 foot, then 2 feet, and then like 2.5 feet. And, you know, people started getting eliminated in mass. Again, mostly the less athletic kids. So around 3 feet is when literally the only people that were left were the kids that ran around, that were actually athletic, that competed in sports, stuff like that, and could actually handle the competition. I myself was among that class. When I was young, I ran around a lot. I played a lot of basketball. I played a lot of Sting. Sting was a game. I actually make a video talking about Sting, because I loved Sting when I was a kid. And I grew up with a lot of stuff. No, you know what? Maybe I might make a comment talking about Sting a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. You know, about the time we reached 3 feet, there was about 27 people. I would have to say there were probably half that left around 3 feet, and then it's slowly getting farther and farther away. It went to 3.5 feet. It went. No one was eliminated in that time, but slowly from 3.5 feet to 4 feet, a couple other people got eliminated, and then 4 feet, and then it slowly kept going farther and farther and farther, and people kept getting eliminated. My friend at the time, his name was Vaughn. He got eliminated until eventually around 4.5, nearly 5 feet, it was down to 2 people. This 10th grader named Michael and me. We were the very last two, and at the time, around that time when it was just us two, we took like about a couple second break, and I noticed my main legs were in a lot of pain, but I wanted to win this pizza party so bad. So, you know, I pushed myself, and I try to push myself as much as I can. And we kept going. We actually decided to, you know, bend the rules a little bit and letting ourselves back up so we can have more of a running start. And, you know, for about 20 minutes, it was just literally me and him constantly crossing the ruler. 5.5. We got to like 5 feet. You know, we're still crossing it pretty easy. We got to 5.5 feet. We were having slight trouble because of fatigue, but we were still crossing it no problem until around nearly 6 feet, around the 6 feet mark. Yeah, around the 6.5 feet mark. Michael, you know, just stopped short. He tuckered out. I don't know how he lost, but he landed just short of the ruler. So he's like, damn. And so it was like so he kind of got angry over the fact he didn't make it. He came so close, and then basically I was given an ultimatum: either I surrender and let the contest and let him win, because, you know, I was younger than him. I was a first grader at the time. He was a 10th grader, you know, so it was like, there's no way you're going to be able to beat the 10th grader. Or try and attempt it, you know, fail, and then, you know, we'll just get a pizza party for both classes, because, you know, we don't know if you'll be able to actually make it, or somehow cross about 6, it was around, if I had to be if I had to be specific, around 6 feet 7 inches around that mark. I may be a little, maybe an inch off, maybe an inch or two off, but it was around there. It was between 6 and 7 feet. I remember that. Or try and beat it and get the pizza party. And I told everyone, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And at the time, I do the back up for the last jump. I take a deep breath, noting that my legs are in extreme pain. I had trouble standing, and I was like, it's just one more. It's just one more jump. You can do it. And I ran. I try to put everything I can in my legs so I can try and make it. I got to the line and I jumped. And I closed my eyes. Because I don't know whether or not I would make it. And then pain. So much pain. When I landed, my legs just completely, I don't know exactly what happened, but that was the most pain I've ever been in. When I landed that last jump, my legs just completely collapsed. I landed left knee first onto the concrete, and my left knee, my right knee, and then my skull actually impacted the concrete. And I landed, and I was kind of sort of passed out for about a minute. And as I was waking up, everyone started panicking. They were saying, get the nurse, call an ambulance, stuff like that. And I woke up, and I tell everyone, I said, did I make it? And I noticed that not only my skull was bleeding, I actually had blood coming from my skull. I also had blood coming from my knees. There was like a tiny pool of blood where my head was and then where my knee was, specifically my left knee. And they told me flat out, yeah, you made it. And I looked, and I was actually past the ruler. And all I could think about was the fact that I won. And then when I tried to stand up, I completely gave out. My legs just could not support me anymore. I couldn't crawl. I couldn't even move my legs. So I asked, can you get me to a seat? And so he picks me up and he brings me to a seat. And again, I didn't know how much damage I did to my legs at the time. It wasn't until after we got back home and that I realized how bad I truly messed up my legs. So I was actually sitting down for about 2 hours while everyone was having fun. I played a little solitaire. I slept, and when everyone said, "Oh, we have to head home," I tried to stand up, and I still couldn't put any weight on my legs. I had to ask my friend, "Can you help me get to the bus?" And he's like, "Okay." So I had two of my friends actually pick me up and kind of sort of drag me to the bus as I'm putting as little weight on my legs as possible. They got me into class. They basically, it was like the last period of the day. We just hung out. I couldn't move. I still couldn't move my legs at the time. And so at the end of the day, they actually helped me out again. They brought me outside. My mom actually got me into the car, and I still had so much pain coming from my legs. And so she took me home. The only saving grace was it was a Friday, so I had the weekend off. So I basically spent the entire weekend on my back, resting my legs as much as possible because, my legs were still in pain. However, when the weekend ended, and I had to go to school, my legs were still in a lot of pain. I'm like, this is not and I'm thinking this is not really normal. But I didn't mention to my mom because my mom was a stickler. Said, you go to school or you get kicked out, or you're gonna get beat up by either me or your brother. So it's like I bit the bullet. I was able to put weight on it. After 2 days of continuous rest, I was able to put weight on my legs, and it hurt a lot, but I was actually able to stand up and walk around slightly. I had to keep leaning on the walls and stuff like that. I had to use railings and wall and a lot of stuff to keep as much weight because if I put any weight, then they just erupted in pain. So I went to the doctor at Kentwood, and I explained to him what happened, and he told me that I basically put so much pressure and stress and that I overexerted myself and put all this stress behind my legs that my legs just completely blew themselves. I didn't have to go to surgery, but they told me that if it's not so much I can't walk, it's just the fact I can't walk long periods. He told me straight out, said, at best situation, you'll be walking with a slight limp for the rest of your life. Worst situation, I would become a paraplegic. So I told him, I said, so I asked him, despite the fact I was around 8 years old, I knew about surgery and stuff like that. I said, can I get surgery for my knees? He said, at the time, he said, it'd probably be super risky. The surgery can actually risk more harm than good. I actually did a little research on this over the years, and, around 2001, surgeries, specifically around like knees and elbows, they were still very, very risky. Not so much the fact they couldn't be done, it's the fact that there was like not enough tools for like to help with precision, precision surgery and stuff like that. So the risk was high that they could inadvertently cause more damage than actually help. So it's like is there any way I can? So I asked him, is there any way I can actually recover? He said, and he told me my legs will never fully recover. My legs will never. They will heal. They will just not heal fully, ever. So he told me all these things that would help, and also stuff to watch out for. He says sometimes when you're laying down, sometimes when you're not moving your leg, you'll actually get flares in your legs, and they'll actually hurt for a couple seconds and then go away. You won't be able to stand around a lot. I actually tested out when I worked for Publix. I could stand around for about 7 hours at most. Or if I was able to have a break, I can stay. I can actually work for slightly longer, because I remember when I worked for Publix, some of the days they went into like 8, or if I was closing, 9 hours. So they often gave me an hour break. That gave me some of my energy back, so I can complete the day. But if you're just standing, if I'm standing by, like just standing and walking around and stuff like that, it would take me about take me over the course of the years, having to train, actually having to do muscle training for my legs. I could easily stand. Now I can stand up at most 7 hours. I can easily stand about 7 hours straight without no problems. But anything past 7 hours, my legs just compound, just so much weight going on my legs that they start to erupt in pain. And I have difficulty walking. It actually turns into me like when I was still recovering from that first injury. I have to lean on everything just to be able to physically walk right. I'm leaning on my right leg heavily. I still have the scar on my knee from the incident from all those years ago. If it wasn't for the fact I'm wearing pants, I would actually. Let me see if I can. Can I actually? There we go. Let me see if I can find it. Ow! Yeah. It's right here. The scar is still right there. It's still. God dang it! Oh dang you! I'll do that off camera. I still have pain. I still have pains. So that pissed me off when my mom told me I'm deliberately trying to get myself fired. No, it's not so much I'm trying to get myself fired. I don't want to stand for these long hours. Is the fact that my body cannot stand, cannot do it. Because of this, I have limits. I kind of inadvertently put myself in because of this. Which even worse is looking back on hindsight. When I did the muscle training, I lived on a street and there was a sidewalk. There was a sidewalk and a stop sign. I told myself just try and walk from my grandparents' house to the stop sign over and over again every twice or 3 times a day, so I can try and get used to the weight again, which helped in the long run, thank God, because if I didn't, I probably actually would be paraplegic. Then again, that's worst case scenario. But there were so many factors into it. But I can't. It's not so much I don't want to stand, because if I had a choice, I would be wholeheartedly, jumping at the prospect of working 8-9 hours in a row without having to get off my feet, because when I was young, I could do that no problem. I would easily able to do that. A lot of people actually had hopefuls of me actually becoming a professional track runner. They said that I had a lot of hope that I would actually be able to get a career in track and field. Such was my legs, like, that powerful. When I was young, I had probably one of the strongest legs in the entire class, if not one of the strongest legs in the entire school. That's how powerful my legs were. And they said you could easily, parlay this into a track and field career. I mean, you could easily go to college for like a scholarship. You could possibly go into the Olympics, stuff like that. Yada yada yada. But when this happened, that pretty much put the kibosh on my potential track career. And who knows? Maybe if it wasn't for the incident, I probably wouldn't have found reading. I probably still would have found reading, but I probably wouldn't have found fan fiction. That made me want to do this channel, and stuff like that. But, this was more an incident of hindsight. When it first happened, I didn't know how bad my legs were going to be damaged. I didn't know how bad it was going to be. I just, I was obsessed with getting a pizza party for my class. I wanted to do something great. And when you're an adult and someone asks you, what's your childhood memory? I said this, and you ask me that, this will be my childhood memory. Because I've never been so proud of myself ever in my life than this one moment. Yeah, I permanently damaged my legs, but the fact that I did what I was able to do and defy all odds and beat everyone in a contest that actually benefited people with longer legs. While I was a kid, I beat teenagers. I literally beat teenagers that were actually wanted to be pro basketball players. They were tall people. Granted, the 10th grader I did beat at the end was actually around the height that I am now. So, but the fact is, I was half his height. And I still beat the guy. And I still call that my proudest moment. Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment, but it's a memory I cherish. Despite the fact, I have so much trouble just walking around. I have trouble just standing. I have my legs are in constant pain. Over the years, I learned, especially when working for Publix, I learned how to dull the pain. But I still get pain, when the longer I'm standing and, just not even just walking, standing, because everyone will tell you, oh, if you're standing and walking, it'll actually alleviate the pain. No, not with me. Just by standing in general, my legs will be in pain. Just the simple fact of standing. Even if I'm standing for 10 minutes, my legs will be in pain. I just learned over the years to dull the pain to the point where I can tolerate it, but I can't do extreme long hours, because then my legs will just be in so much pain that I couldn't walk. And it's like, I don't want that to happen while I'm on the clock, because I could possibly get my employers sued. I could potentially get fired, because I wouldn't be able to work long hours. There's so many factors that I just don't want my employers to go through. And that's why I complained about my leg, because the simple fact is I'll do the hours. I won't be able to do 9-10 hours like the managers regularly do. Not because I don't want to, it's because I physically can't. And that's what makes it sad. Is like I can't perform to 100% anymore. I had to slow down. I had, eventually led me to that and my stepfather's death. Eventually kind of led me to reading. I might actually make a video talking about what happened with my stepfather. But that's going to be a little bit away. I have a whole bunch of videos to do. But yeah, that's what happened to my legs. I'm still proud of myself for doing that in the first place. But with hindsight, I realized that I pretty much partially screwed myself over. Do I regret? But if you, sorry, I'm confusing myself here. But if you ask me, I said, do you regret ever doing this? Do you regret if you could go back in time, would you change it? My friend actually asked me that when I first told her Agent X. She was in my Spider-Man Let's Plays. She asked me when I said, "Do you ever regret doing that?" And I said, "No, I don't regret doing that. If I had to go back in time, I would say I would do it all over again. I would not even hesitate because I defied the odds. I did what I consider probably the greatest thing I've my childhood memory. Even years afterwards, I'm looking back and I'm still remembering what happened, and I'm still like, you did for once in my childhood. I have something to be proud of. I have something that I can remember and cherish for years on end. And it's like, why would I want to? Yeah, I destroyed my legs, but why would I want to get rid of that memory? Why would I want to get rid of my most cherished memory, my childhood memory, so to speak? You know what? Tell me in the comment section what your childhood memory was. Like, what was the thing as a child you were most proud of? Because I just told you mine. And I will see you next time. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and